everything's going well with you guys. Today I'm going to be talking about the sphere of influence in our day-to-day lives, how it impacts us, who it is that we're allowing to influence us, and so on and so forth. So one of the things I want to start off with is I want you guys to really think about who in your lives influences you the most. It could be anybody. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be somebody you idolize, like a famous person and whatnot, but think about it. Now, what kind of influence are they having? Because when we look up to those people, or when we allow those people to influence us or influence the decisions that we make in our day-to-day lives, ultimately it's going to be either a positive influence or a negative influence. So jot that down. Now, another thing that might throw some people off, especially if those influencing them are relatives, close relatives, is do you have like a barrier set up or a boundary set up for what kind of influence comes your way from them? Like, for example, what kind of authority are you giving them over the decisions you make in your day-to-day life, for example? Think about that. And what it ultimately leads to, like influence, whether we allow others to influence us or not, it's like a double-edged sword. It's like good and bad at the same time, depending on how it's done. But how does it all play in to your best interest? Now that's huge. A lot of people just drift through life and they never really think about it. And more often than not, they piece it together later on. And by later on, I mean it's too late. A lot of major decisions have been made for them, and it's going to be difficult for them to uproot and change and whatnot, especially if they've tagged on a lot of responsibility. But how does your best interest play into the influence that's being had on you? And be honest with it. So when it comes to influence, oftentimes, let's just take it within the context of those close to us, like family and friends. And oftentimes they have the best interest in mind for us, right? But one of the things that you need to really keep in mind is you're in the driver's seat of your own life. Nobody can drive your life for you, no matter how close they are, no matter how amazing of an intention they have for you. At the end of the day, your life is your responsibility, and you need to have your best interest in mind in terms of what decisions you're going to make in your life. Now, that doesn't mean you can't consult people. That's fine. But from my experience of like dealing with people, and then me personally, I mean, some executive decisions were just made on my behalf, and it was one of those things where I complied with for a certain period of time. But I was lucky enough to catch myself early on and just start carving out my own path in life. But again, going back to people and their influence on you, they can love you, but at the end of the day, there's going to be clashes between what they're going to want you to do, especially with your life moving forward, and what you want to do. And don't mistake it for one of those things where you think that you have to justify it to somebody, where you have to explain what your vision for your life is. The best way to convince people is not to talk to them. It's not through speech, but it's through action. So you want to make sure that if you have a certain vision for your life, that you're piecing it together and you're acting on that vision and you're moving forward and making progress in it. And again, your vision shouldn't be to hang out with the wrong crowd or partake in the wrong activities. It should be to further your life and go beyond what you could have thought or what your family could have thought for you. Because oftentimes when it comes to influence, it's like a generational thing where oftentimes one party is stuck under the umbrella of the other. And in the game of life, the way I don't want to say it's a metaphor, but like an example of it would be like the open body of water. And when you're under somebody's umbrella and they're telling you where you can and can't go, what they're doing is they've set up the limit on how far you can go in that body of water. And it oftentimes means that you're within view, right, in that body of water. But as humans, we're created and we evolve and we become better as generations go on because some people decide to go beyond that umbrella. They decide to venture further out through some storms, maybe, through whatever, even if it's just a distance. But they venture out, and then now that becomes the new umbrella, right? So progress was made, growth was made as an individual, and so on and so forth. And one of the pointers that I've taken from myself doing so, and then viewing others who are older than me, who have just sat around within the umbrella that was established by their families in this case, is you grow and you develop into a completely different person. When a person has been given the capacity to grow, to spread their wings and fly, it's a hell of a lot different than somebody who's all cooped up and hasn't given themselves the opportunity to do so. So it's really crucial that you develop your own best interest, you get an idea of what that is, and you actually think about it. You don't allow others to influence you with regards to major decisions in your life, because guess what? If you're young and you're going through life, you can make mistakes and you can learn from them and you can move on with your life. That's crazy for a lot of people to hear. They don't believe that. Somehow in society, we've been conditioned to believe that growing up, if we make one wrong mistake, that's it. That's the end of it all. That's the trajectory for the rest of our lives. And oftentimes, I believe that that's just a tactic that they use to maintain influence, and it's with the best of intentions. So don't view it as, friends and family have negative views on you, or that they want to impose something negative and set you up to fail. Although in some cases that might be true, more often than not, that's actually not the case. Like, they want what's best for you, and then as a result of that, and in doing so, it's just they set you up and they say certain things, or they set certain boundaries up to make you believe that their way is the right way and everybody else's way is the wrong way. And I believe that that's absurd. Absolutely not. At the end of the day, in your life, all you have is yourself. And you have the decisions that you made or that you allowed other people to make for you. Because let me tell you something from personal experience. Once a mistake is made, they all wash their hands clean of what was going on, and then they throw it on your lap, and they're like, well, hey, you didn't follow exactly what I said, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that. So keep in mind that when decisions are made on your behalf, you're going to be the one to shoulder anything that goes wrong. You're not going to point the finger at them, because nobody's going to take on the burden of somebody else. They're carrying their own burdens in life. They're not going to carry yours. So with that said, keep it in mind. As I said over here, those closest to you have the greatest influence, and the best of intentions could cause the most harm. That's something to really make note of. Love and respect people, friends and family, and whoever else, but ultimately be strong enough and confident enough to make the decisions for yourself on your own. And just to end this off, the most fragile thing in the world isn't glass, it's actually life. And a life lived on other people's terms, although they have the best interest in mind for you, it's not worth it. At the end of the day, you see it in certain people when they get older and they didn't make decisions for themselves, and the amount of regret they live with. Live a life of fulfillment, live a life of passion and purpose. But then the most fragile thing in life is life, and just get out there, live, and enjoy it. One of the most beautiful things as time goes on is you really start to think about life for what it is, how fragile it is, how short it is, and short in terms of how fast time starts to go by. Even if it's been 80 years, 90 years, if you talk to those people, you'll know it's a blink of an eye. Like, they just graduated from high school. They just graduated from their undergrad or their master's or whatever. In a blink of an eye, they're that old. So make note of that. And with that said, have an awesome day.